Down here in the lower right is where you would configure your work areas. And you'd also configure your schedule and your iteration. If I'm going to plan on doing sprint 1 and I know that it's going to start today and it's going to be a 2-week sprint, end on the 28th, I can save it and close it. This is also where you can manage your members. Again, this would just be click add, enter their live ID. We can also manage the product backlog from here. So I'm just going to, just to try and kind of give you a flavor for what this looks like, I'm going to add a few product backlog items. I'm going to add all the detail to everything. I just want to get a couple of them in here. Okay. No, let's not do it that way. Now that I've got a couple of product backlog items, I want to actually go up to this Work tab, and I want to start adding some tasks to my product backlog. So I'm going to go into my work, and I'm going to go into Sprint 1 here. And then we've got this little plus indicator here where I can start adding tasks to it. And I'm just going to add the code task. I'm going to just give it some remaining work. Let's say it's an 8-hour task. And I want to assign the activity to somebody in development. Save. I'm hitting save instead of save and close. That's why it's not closing. Let's also go add another. Let's add a test case. Be a little more clear here. Let's say, right, the test case task. And that's going to be a 2-hour task, and that belongs to somebody in testing. Save and close it, and then let's add another one. Right, the documentation. It's a 4-hour task, and let's assign that to somebody in the documentation. Save it. And then cancel out of there. Let's actually, I want to go into my code task, and I'm going to assign this to me just because it makes for a richer board. Okay, so now we're going to go to our board here, and notice what we have here. We've got, right now I'm sorting by product backlog items, and I want to look at for team members, and you can imagine if you had a number of members on your team here. And now what I can do, this is all drag and drop enabled, so if I'm responsible for both the coding and the writing test cases, I can be a drag and drop. I can assign that to me. When we double click in, it got assigned to me. And then as I go from work to do to in progress and to done, that's all just a drag and drop activity. So this was a really popular, handy interface for us to be interacting with. And then let's see, the last thing I want to just kind of point out here is if we go into work, and let's go to our work items. Notice we've got an area here where we can set up team favorites. And the idea here is that I can take some of these queries, and let's say I've got test cases is something I want to know about, unfinished work, show me what's unfinished, and show me the work in progress. And then let's go back to my board. some work in progress. That doesn't like me to move that direction. Let's put the right document in progress. And when I go out to my home page, bear with me a moment. I think this error is causing me a problem. Okay, then when I go back to my home page, you can see that my dashboard is updating. And certainly as you're working with a team and you're adding tasks and working through it and completing tasks, you're going to start getting a realistic burn down chart, which is also really nice. So that's just a super high, very fast overview of the user interface for Team Foundation Service and what you might see as you're working with it from day to day. So let's go now and take a peek at an Azure website application that I've chosen to demo, and this is called a My Pictures application. It's using Windows Azure SDK 1.7, and at the end of this presentation, I've got some links out to where you can download this if you want to try it yourself. But just to give you an idea of what it's doing is, let's just quick run it. It's an ASP.NET application, and essentially we're using table storage and blob storage to store pictures. Okay, so the idea is that I add a picture, give it a name, a description if I want, give it some sort of a tag, and then I can browse and grab a picture. Post it. Description is required. Okay, so the name, the description, the tags, that's all going to be stored in Windows Azure Table Storage. And I'm running locally right now, running in the emulator. I post it, and now if I go through the rest of this app, I've got, if I run Get Pictures, it gives me a link to where I can actually view the picture, or if I want to grab the GUID here, I can do a get, or I can go ahead and delete the picture. So just a really simple application. And the thing I just want you to notice and see right now is that we're working in version 1 of the application. The other thing I just want to take a quick peek at here is just make a mention of within my project, I've got this picture model. And within picture model, we've got a tags property here, getter and setter. And basically what the rule is whatever tags you put in there into that tags edit box on the user interface, we want to separate the items, separate them out by comma, make sure there's no white spaces, and concatenate them together and store them. Okay, and then I've got a unit test called picture.test in a different project that's just going to validate that it works properly. So I've added some spaces into my tags, and I know that when I run the setter, those spaces are going to be parsed out. So I would expect the value to be A, comma, B, comma, C with no spaces. Okay, and if we go ahead and run that, I'm running in Visual Studio 2012, so if things look a little bit odd to you, that's why. So I'm going to run my test. Open my Test Explorer here, and I see that I'm passing my test right now. Okay, so that'll come into play a little bit later when we're doing our build and we want to tie the deployment of the build to whether or not all of our unit tests pass.